Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and welcome to the Game Week 31 team selection, the video where I'm going to be showing you my scores from Game Week 30, how I'm going to be setting up for Game Week 31, including any transfers, and finally who I'm going to be captaining for this game week. I'm going to be revealing my new rank, which is not too bad considering, I used my free hit, my second free hit last game week. I'm going to show you how that went in the end. And hopefully, guys, you're going to be reasonably impressed. I don't know, we'll see, guys. But before we go any further, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like on the video if you do enjoy what you see today, it really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here and you want FPL content in your faces every single day. But before we have a look at my scores from last week, just a quick word from our sponsor for today's video. Guys, if you are looking for an expert in web safety and anonymity, today's video is sponsored by Surfshark, a VPN service that keeps your identity safe online, which is more important than ever right now to keep your FPL accounts safe from hackers and scammers. It's basically like installing 3 premium defenders to your PC or mobile phone. But not only this, Surfshark also allows you to browse the internet as if you were in a different country. If you don't have access to certain football channels and networks in your country, no problem. Set your location to somewhere else using Surfshark and you can now access it. Maybe you want to watch Match of the Day or Sky Go from on holiday and it's not working, or you're getting that annoying "this content is unavailable in your country" message. Again, you can switch up countries to somewhere else, but here's my favorite feature. If you've watched everything on Netflix and want to unlock all of the content on USA Netflix, for example, you can easily do so. Just a few clicks, switch to any country in the world, basically. You can switch your country faster than I can switch out Raul Jimenez from my FPL team. Protect your identity, be safe online, and access web content from around the world wherever you are, and you can now get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. Just use promo code FPLMate, all one word, to get this offer, or you can simply click the link in my description. It really helps out support the channel, and you get a service for a heavily discounted price. So everyone kind of wins, guys. Go get Surfsharked in the description. So guys, Game Week 30, how did we get on? I did use my free hit in the end, and I'm going to say this was a moderate success. It could have been a bigger success. The one player you will notice that is missing from this team is, of course, Saka, which I'm a little bit disappointed. It's why I'm not fully happy with this score, because I was so close to having Saka in my team. I ended up switching out Saka and putting in Coutinho instead, due to, in part, a little bit of peer pressure and kind of FOMO of missing out on Coutinho, because I knew a lot of people would have Coutinho in their teams. What I should have done really was taken out Martinelli and put in Saka, taken out Martinelli and put in Coutinho for him, but instead I sacrificed Saka and put in Coutinho, and Martinelli unfortunately got COVID, out of nowhere. Really, really surprising, really, really disappointing, and Saka was a really big hitter for Game Week 30, really, and I did miss out on those Saka points. So, maybe I was kind of foolish to go without Saka, but at the end of the day, I can't complain, because I can't expect every single thing to go my way, can I really? You can't have everything go your way all the time. Maybe that was a bit of an obvious one, but some of the less obvious ones did come off too. So, for example, going for Johnny, he scored a goal in that game against Leeds. That was a bit of a master stroke, so I was really, really happy with that. Podence was a bit of a differential going for him, and of course we were able to go for both Son and Kane due to the fact that we were on a free hit and we could just have any players. So that was really good. And the real success, I feel like, from this free hit, and the biggest reason why I wanted to go for a free hit, was because I wanted to have these players for one game week only. I didn't want to double up on Son and Kane long term. I didn't want to have Wolves players in my team long term. I didn't want to have, I didn't want to go too hard on some other players. I didn't want to go too hard on Leicester, or I didn't want Tony in my main team. So I was able to get a few of these players who otherwise I might have transferred in, but I didn't actually want to transfer them, because I know that going forward, a lot of people who do have Aston Villa, Wolves players, for example, they are going to want to actually transfer these players out now. So I'm now without that problem, and I was able to keep a lot of the players that I actually really wanted to keep for the longer term, but I would have had to sacrifice in order to make the most of this blank game week. So in that sense, I've got all my players still. I think this has gone pretty well. I've scored kind of 20 points above the average for my rank, which is huge. To half your rank from 800-ish to kind of 400-ish. That's a really, really big success at this kind of rank. That doesn't happen every day. It really doesn't. So in that way, it is a success. But ultimately, I'm going to find out really if it was a success or not by Game Week 33, as I know that's going to be another really, really popular free hit week. if we're still going pretty well by game week 33, I think we can consider the free hit in game week 30 a success. If it goes wrong from there, then, you know, I kind of only have myself to blame. But at the end of the day, you choose a strategy, don't you? And you kind of hope it came off. So far, so good in terms of the free hit 30 strategy. I've got no more free hits left. I've got one chip left, and that is the bench boost for my kind of rank bracket. That is about average. Most people around my rank either have no chips left, one chip left, or two chips left. There's not too many people with more than that left. So I think the average amount of chips left, even in the top 10k, is about 1.5 chips. So I think we're in a pretty decent position. Let's just see if we can stay in the top 500. That would be really nice. The goal still is to end the season in the top 1k. That's still the big goal. But I think that this free hit team from last week has made a major step into doing that. Like a really, really nice boost and like a 20 point boost on my rivals to try and you know, hopefully stick around in the top 1k, because that would just be just a phenomenal achievement that I would be so happy with. So we need to go forward now and see what we can do next in order to stay in the top 1k, hopefully even stay in the top 500. How are we going to do that, guys? Well, let's show you how I'm going to line up for game week 31. So we've got one free transfer, not very much money in the bank, and we've got a few injuries as well, but I think we can cover them. But I'm just going to lay out the players who I intend to play. If you know, some of my players are unavailable due to injury, then obviously they'll swap out for players on my bench, and we'll go through the bench players in the end. But yeah, just to warn you, there's a few flagged players, a few Doritos of death on screen in a minute. You'll see that in a second. But yeah, I can cover it. Don't worry, I can cover it. So we'll start you off in goal with Ramsdale, and this is exactly what we mean. Ramsdale is kind of a major doubt for this game against Crystal Palace. It's not looking likely that he is going to be available to play. But if I had to choose between him and my substitute goalkeeper De Gea, who plays against Leicester at home, I would slightly prefer to go for Ramsdale. So I'm just going to start off with Ramsdale just in case he is able to play. Remember, Arsenal's game isn't until Monday, so there's still a chance of Ramsdale playing. Not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance? Yes, I am. So yeah, hopefully he can do. He can come back. I mean, but if he doesn't, it's not going to be the end of the world. Crystal Palace is a decent game. They're not scoring too many goals in the league at the moment, so I think they're Arsenal, with their defensive abilities that they seem to have at the moment, I think that could go pretty well. But yeah, I'm not counting on that by any stretch of the imagination, but for now, he can stay there. Similarly, we have got Trent Alexander-Arnold in defence. He is looking pretty doubtful for this game against Watford as well, unfortunately. He is back in training. He is back in some light training, which is good. Is he actually going to be ready for Saturday afternoon? I don't think so. If I'm completely honest with you guys, I don't think Trent is going to be available. I'm hoping that we will find out a little bit more definitively by Saturday morning if he's going to be available for this game against Watford. But if not, again, we have got plenty of cover on the bench. Plenty of cover. So it's not going to be too bad. After that, it's Man City, Man United. I think he is probably, at this stage, I can say he's probably going to be back for the game against Man City, you would hope. And then Manchester United is probably looking good from there on. So yeah, he is injured. He's unlikely to play. Guys, I would recommend that you try and make sure you can cover Trent if you're not planning on selling him, because I don't think he's going to play this game week, to be honest. He's in light training, but I don't think there's enough time. I don't think there's enough turnaround to get him ready to go for this Watford game, even though he is a really crucial player for Liverpool. But Robertson, on the other hand, especially with Trent potentially being absent, I think he's pretty nailed on to start this game against Watford. I know a few people are concerned about Tsimikas coming in at some point or another, but remember, guys, this is a situation where there's no Trent. You know, you can't play with neither of your best fullbacks when you're Liverpool, and the fullbacks are so important to the team. Robertson is in such good form as well, in better form than Trent actually, and this is a really nice game against Watford. You know, Jurgen Klopp, you know, he values consistency and keeping the momentum going just as much as he does resting players. So he's not really a manager who will typically just rotate players on a whim. If a player is fully fit, and Robertson is fully fit, then that should be absolutely fine for him to go ahead and start. So I'm not really too concerned about that. And I think it could be a really nice score. You would hope that Liverpool are keeping a clean sheet in that, and you're predicting that, especially with Trent's absence, where is the creativity going to come from primarily in this Liverpool team? It's going to be Robertson. So even if he can't get an assist, you think bonus points are pretty likely because he's going to be making plenty of chances, even if no one scores from those chances. So, yeah, Robertson, I think, is going to have a really good score this game week. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can produce. And then after that, I mean, we'll see what happens in the games, subsequent to that. But next, we've got Cancelo, another player I'm pretty confident in this week. We're pretty big on defenders this week. I'm sure you guys have been watching other FPL videos, and all of the talk is about defenders right now, those premium defenders that we think are going to score really well this week. And Cancelo is no different. This Burnley team is not particularly known for scoring a lot of goals. And, well, Man City are known as the best defence in the league, aren't they, at the moment? So Cancelo, just because he's such a nailed-on player, arguably the most nailed-on player in that Man City team, aside from Edison and maybe De Bruyne. Honestly, I think at this point, Cancelo is more nailed on than De Bruyne. Like, Cancelo is such an important player for this Man City team, and this Man City team has got a lot of pressure from Liverpool as well. If they want to win the title, they've got a challenger now in Liverpool, so there's not going to be very much rotation for either of those teams, I don't think. I think they're going to want to keep the momentum going right until the end of the season. So yeah, Cancelo, he's going to hopefully have a big week against Burnley. I think he will do well as well. Similarly with the situation with Robertson, even if he doesn't actually score a goal or create an assist, there's every chance of that happening with players like Robertson and Cancelo. But again, if it doesn't happen, we are looking at bonus points again, particularly if the scoreline is pretty low. And I can't imagine, I don't know if Man City are going to score too many goals against Burnley, because Burnley, a team that sits deep, may frustrate Manchester City a little bit. And unless City can get an early goal, I think the scoreline could be reasonably low. I mean, I'm not saying low. We're still going to be talking about like a 2-0, aren't we? But yeah, that's kind of what I think about that one. We have got a Doherty next for Spurs. It's a home game against Newcastle. I don't think you guys should underestimate Newcastle. I think they're a pretty good team at the moment, and I don't think you should overrate Spurs either at the moment, because they are just so black and white. Spurs are winning a game, then losing a game, then winning a game and losing a game. And if that pattern continues, technically, this is the game week that they lose a game. There's nothing in that really. I mean, it's just, a random theory that's just so happens to be happening at the moment. But, certainly this is, if Spurs are going to lose a game, this is the kind of game that Spurs will actually lose or draw in, But Newcastle, even though they are doing quite well, I have been more impressed with Newcastle kind of defensively than I have attacking-wise, because I don't think they have that much real high quality in attack. So in terms of clean sheets, I think the clean sheet is very much on. And then with Doherty, you just kind of hope that he can get a goal return as well. He's another one of those players who has that real nice attacking threat, attacking potential. So I think he's going to do pretty well. And we've got Roberts finally in defence. We've got a 5-man defence. I know Trent is probably going to be not playing, so it will end up being a 4-man defence. But we're starting with a 5-man defence. Connor Roberts is the final guy on the team sheet. He has got that double game week. You guys will know that I still have a lot of Burnley players kicking around from a few weeks ago that I've been wanting to actually keep. I've had to use free hits in order to keep them. Can they finally kind of repay me over the next few game weeks? I mean, these looks like some really nice fixtures for Burnley. This double game week now, then Norwich, then another double game week, then Wolves, and then possibly another double game week after that as well. So that's going to be so nice. Roberts, in terms of Burnley defenders, I think he is the best pick just because he is so cheap. And, he's a fullback as well, which gives you a little bit of attacking potential. There's not too much. He's not going to be like a Robertson, Cancelo, even a Doherty. There's just not too much play. There's not too much football played from the fullbacks, but you're telling me there's a chance? I'm telling you there's a chance Roberts could do okay. And most importantly, it's a double game week. I'm not expecting much of the Man City game. Obviously, a 1-pointer would suffice. That second game against Everton, however, I would be kind of really hoping for a clean sheet, really. I think Burnley are probably hoping for a clean sheet themselves. They really do need it right now, don't they? And it's a home game. Everton have not been showing too much in attack at all. They're just not creating chances. They're not doing anything in attack. It's been really disappointing for them, unfortunately. So I think this is going to be a really tightly contested game. I think Burnley will be looking to keep the scoreline low, and let's see what they can do, basically. But yeah, it could be okay. I'm happy to be in on the Burnley defence in some capacity, because I know a lot of you guys are going to have players like Nick Pope, for example, who I am unfortunately missing currently. We've got Salah in midfield against Watford. He played a lot of minutes actually in the World Cup qualifying game. 120 minutes actually he played, didn't he? So yeah, again, another 120 minutes for Salah. I know he's not in particularly good form, particularly for Egypt, but you know, we know what he can do. We know he can explode out of nowhere. We know he can be a bit of a penalty merchant as well if he needs to be, and he can be very direct and score goals. And he's been the best fantasy player, you know, of recent memory, right? So I think he's going to do so well again. And this is a game against Watford at home, provided he starts. And I don't see why he wouldn't start. Again, Liverpool are a team just like City. They have to win matches. If Liverpool want to win the Premier League, they need to play Salah. It's so essential. So yeah, I think he's going to play. I'm not worried about him not playing. I think he's going to do very well. I mean, if you're going to do well, a home game against Watford is a pretty good example of a game to do pretty well in. We've got Heung-min Son next, home against Newcastle. Like I say, I don't think this is going to be a particularly easy game, but we know what Son can do. We know he's a bit of a magic player, and he can provide those moments of brilliance sometimes out of nowhere. Like we kind of saw last game week, a reminder of how dangerous he can be when Spurs are kind of, you know, on the ball, like kind of in the right form. So hopefully that's going to happen again, and Son is kind of found his rhythm once again and is going to come back to being a really good player and kind of make up for the fact that I don't have Harry Kane in my team. I'm Team Son at the moment, which is scary, but, you know, last week Team Son won technically, so yeah, hopefully Son can do the business against Newcastle. But yeah, I don't think this is as a good of a fixture as people perhaps think it is. I think this could be actually kind of tough for Spurs. But, you know, you back the best players in any game, and that's exactly what you do with a player like Son. Same with Kane. You know, you back them in any game that they play. I've got Saka next. Crystal Palace away a game again. I have actually flagged Saka because there have been some some murmurings that Saka is only just coming back to fitness. It's looking pretty good for Saka. It's very likely that he is going to start, but there is a small chance that he won't. Just a small chance, but a chance nonetheless. So I have put a flag on here. I don't know if the official Fantasy Premier League website's put a flag on him yet, but if they haven't, I think they will. So yeah, I've just kind of put that on as a warning for you guys. Just try and make sure you can cover him if you can. Like I say, it's looking positive for Saka, but it's not 100%. So I do feel like we need to flag him just in case. But against Crystal Palace, a team which I know they've not been conceding a shed load of goals recently, but Arsenal are in really good form. I think they can do pretty well. Crystal Palace, I mean, they don't really have much to play for anymore other than the FA Cup. Certainly not in the Premier League. They're safe from relegation, you would say, and they're really going to be wanting to build for next season, I suppose, and see how far they can go in the FA Cup as well. So hopefully Arsenal, with all they've got to play for this top four finish that they are so desperately need, it's the only competition they're in, Arsenal are going to go and dominate them, and Saka is in such good form. He's been Arsenal's best player this year. He's been absolutely amazing. So yeah, really excited just to watch him, to be fair, and to have him in my fantasy team is an absolute pleasure, unlike last game week where it was absolutely terrifying watching Saka tear it up against Aston Villa and not have him in my fantasy team. So he's back. He's in my main team. He is back. We've got the final midfielder here, Maxwell Cornet, another double game week player, a player who I back relentlessly. I don't know why, but I do. I just have so much faith in this guy. I really feel like over these next 4 or 5 game weeks, Cornet is going to do seriously well. He has to. He's playing so many games, right? And he is a really good football player. Like, we saw what he could do earlier on in the season, and he is going to be such an essential player for Burnley in order to get them out of this relegation zone if they can do it. So, yeah, Cornet is going to be really important to that, really crucial to that. He's going to be playing as a striker. He's going to be playing off Weghorst, and if anything that we've kind of seen in recent weeks it suggests anything, then Cornet is actually going to be the primary goal threat for Burnley. He's going to be the main man. He's going to be more of a goal threat and more of a creative threat than pretty much any other player on his team, which is fantastic for 5.9 million, super differential, and a player that not many people are willing to punt on. Certainly, if I didn't already have Cornet in my team, would I be punting on him now? Probably not, to be honest, but that's not going to stop me backing him to the hills, because that's what FPL is all about, backing your boys. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. Maxwell Cornet, let's go. Let's see what we can do in this double game week and maybe the next as well. And we're going to finish off the team with one striker, and that is Wout Weghorst. He is going to do so well this week. He's not going to get 1 point. He's not going to get 2 points. He's not going to get 3 points. He is going to get 4 points this game week. You heard it here first, guys. Weghorst is going to get 2 points for playing against Man City, and he's going to get another 2 points for playing against Everton. And we're going to be 4-point machines. No, but seriously, guys, particularly against Everton, you wouldn't be entirely surprised if someone like, you know, if Burnley is scoring against Everton, and you think that's pretty likely knowing how bad Everton have kind of been, you feel like Cornet or Weghorst. Surely these are the guys. These are the guys who are going to do something. Like, who else who else is going to score a goal? Maybe a centre-back, I suppose. But these guys are going to be involved in some capacity. And, you know, playing it off each other, the two strikers for Burnley, you know, I just feel like, come on, Burnley. You've caused us so much disappointment in FPL over the past, you know, however long, in all of your double game weeks. Come on, I know it's a game against Man City, but that Everton game is such a nice fixture at the moment. So, about Weghorst, come on, repay our faith. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are going to be bringing in Weghorst to your teams as well this week. I don't fully blame you, particularly if you're taking out a player like Jimenez. Come on, Weghorst. Come on. I mean, 4 points would be pretty decent for a forward, to be fair, because aside from Harry Kane, forwards just don't score points, which is why the other two forwards that I have are on my bench. Speaking of, let's bring the bench up, guys. Like I said, I have De Gea as my backup goalkeeper. He will come in for that home game against Leicester if Ramsdale doesn't play, or should I say when Ramsdale doesn't play, because I don't think he's going to. But yeah, it's not a bad backup to have, really. I don't think this is the worst fixture again. And to be honest, I would, like, if Ramsdale isn't able to play and De Gea has to come in, I'm almost as happy with De Gea instead of Ramsdale anyway. Like, that's not a big deal. Hopefully you guys have got a decent backup goalkeeper as well, because, you know, I think we could do a little bit worse. I think there's some good opportunities for some of the other goalkeepers to do something in this game week. So yeah, hopefully De Gea can be a good understudy to our guy Ramsdale. We've got Kulusevski first on the bench, so I'm expecting Kulusevski to come in for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Kulusevski, like I say, is not an easy. I don't think this is going to be an easy fixture. I don't think this is going to be a rollover or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash. I don't think Spurs are going to go there and dominate. But Kulusevski's underlying stats are just so phenomenal that, you know, you kind of back him anyway. Certainly, his underlying stats are better than a player like Lacazette's, for example, which is why I put Lacazette after, even though Lacazette, I would say, has the easier fixture. So, yeah, let's see what happens. If Kulusevski can get something out of that game, I think it's possible. I'm not expecting the big things necessarily, but an assist or something like that, a nice 5 or 6 pointer would be really, really nice from a player like Kulusevski. I think for his price, I think that's, you shouldn't really expect more than that, to be honest. We've got Lacazette, who has been kind of not really, you know, aside from a penalty recently, he hasn't been doing so well, has he? He's a good player, but just not the perfect striker in the fantasy football capacity. So when you've got these double game week players like Weghorst, for example, you just kind of find yourself backing them a little bit more, I feel. And Broja, because he is a minutes risk, I've put him last on my bench. I've got a strong bench already. We've got Kulusevski, we've got Lacazette. We already know there's going to be points on this bench. Like, that's just going to happen. So we don't really need to risk it with a rotation risk player. He could just stay last on the bench. He's a cheap player anyway. We shouldn't really be expecting too much from Broja. Unless he starts showing a little bit of form again, then we can start reintegrating him into the starting 11. But for now, he can just stay on the bench there. But yeah, I fully expect the final lineup to include De Gea instead of Ramsdale and Kulusevski instead of Trent, just because of these injuries. But yeah, that would put Lacazette first on the bench technically. And that would be Broja second on the bench, and that's how that would go down, and that would be fine. You know, I think we're again in a situation where we're glad we've got some strong benches, and we'll keep building towards that bench boost in game week 36. I think. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 36, the bench boost for me. Maybe 33, but probably 36. Guys, let's do captains quickly, guys, because we are running out of time. We're going to put the captain's armband on Salah. It is just the most sensible decision. I'm not going to try and be clever this game week. I don't think it's a game week to be clever, really. I just want to go for Salah, and that will be that. It's a really good fixture, and if he plays, you expect him to score, you expect him to do well. Put the vice-captain on Cancelo, because I think he could have a pretty good game week as well, to be honest. There are a few players, you know, Robertson maybe could have a decent game week as well. I'm not really interested in captaining any of the double game week players. They are okay players, but they're not good enough to be captaining, really. You know, they're okay in a double game week, but you would never even be thinking about captaining a Weghorst, a Cornet, or a Roberts in a single game week, would you? So, I mean, how much are you realistically expecting in a double? Just manage your expectations, guys. One of the games is against Man City, for God's sake. So there we go. That will be the team. Guys, there's going to be no transfers this week. I am rolling the transfer, and we are going to hopefully, be able to roll the transfer and go into the next game with 2 transfers. I'm hoping for some more fixture announcements, and I'm kind of I want to save a transfer. Like, I like my team already. I don't think I'm missing any major player other than Kane, and Kane is not a player I can easily get to, and I would have to sacrifice Son. Do I really want to do that? Not really, to be honest. So I'm really happy with the team as it is. I don't feel like I need to make a transfer. Reece James would be the only player I consider bringing in, but again, he's going to take a -4 to get in, and I'm not 100% convinced that Reece James is going to start either. So that's a kind of a transfer move that could actually really go very, very poorly. So I'm going to try and roll the transfer. I'm going to try and wait for some more double game week announcements, and then we're going to go from there and try and utilize the multiple transfers in trying to attack whatever the next big double game week is, and try and figure out who else is going to have a double game week in 36, so we can continue working towards a Game Week 36 bench boost. That's the plan anyway. There we go. That's the team, guys, for the game week. Hopefully he's going to do really well, but I always am interested to see, what would you guys do? Would you change anything? Would you play any different players? Would you bench any of the players that I got on the field? What would you change? Is there any particular transfer move that you would make if you had my team? Always really keen to know what you guys would do as well. So there we go. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe as well. Really helps out the channel when you guys like the videos. I know views have kind of been down a little bit recently. I think people are disengaging with FPL, which is fine. It's the end of the season. That's what we expect, but that's okay. We're just going to dominate all of those people who have disengaged with fantasy. Us guys, the engaged managers, we're going to do it. We're going to absolutely smash it in these final weeks, aren't we, guys? Don't forget to check out Surfshark. The link for that is in the description. If you do find yourself in need of a VPN service, that's the one I've got to recommend to you guys, and it helps out the channel as well. Aside from that, guys, I've still yet to 100% decide what tomorrow's video is going to be, but I think I have a good idea, and I think you're going to like it. If I go ahead with this idea, I think you're going to really like it. We might do a stream tomorrow as well, but we'll certainly do a stream on Saturday, the deadline stream as well. And that's going to be the rest of the content for this week. Don't forget to check out the other videos I've made this week as well. If you want other transfer tips and stuff like that, it's all there on the channel. And aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.